The tragedy of the flight to Osaka Airport, which departed from Tokyo Haneda at 6:56:30 post-meridian on August 12, 1985, was at an altitude of 1,565. The plane crashed into a mountain in the metropolis, resulting in the loss of 520 out of 524 passengers and crew. It was the largest single loss of life in Japanese history. After this accident, it was announced as a result of the investigation that the bulkhead was damaged due to poor maintenance, but there are still many mysteries and voices questioning it. This time, I would like to talk about this topic in the range that I can speak from my mouth. First of all, it is the details of the incident. On August 12th, the day of the accident, the Japanese left for Osaka at 6 in the afternoon, 4 minutes late from the Imperial. It was scheduled to land at 18:12 and was flying on the scheduled route, but after landing 12 minutes later, the rear pressure bulkhead that holds the atmosphere inside the aircraft and all the oil pressure tubes were damaged, coinciding with the loss of the vertical tail fin. The aircraft became completely uncontrollable in this situation. The pilot requested to return to Haneda and headed towards Haneda, but the aircraft continued to fly while losing control, especially since the abnormality occurred. About 30 minutes later, the right main wing finally touched the ground, and the impact caused the rear of the aircraft to fall off and fall. However, it was this fall that miraculously resulted in 4 survivors. It's breaking down. The aircraft, which had completely lost control, could not stand up straight and flipped over at 18:56. The aircraft, in a nosedive, crashed at a speed between 650 and 435 miles per hour and was completely destroyed, engulfed in flames. The impact was estimated to be several hundred Gs, making it unthinkable that a human could withstand such forces. Only voice memos and photos of burning clothing inside the passenger cabin remained after the impact. The crew and passengers' efforts to survive are documented, including attempts from the cockpit to do anything to survive. The painful screams of the pilots are left behind. Don't take it so hard, son. Raise your head, it's no good anymore, I don't understand. Raise your head, power. This is a testimony of the survivors, but many died immediately after the crash, but many passengers, mainly near the rear of the cabin, survived. However, only 4 people survived in the end, and it seems that they were breathing one after another until the search team arrived in the morning. Why? Why did the search team delay until morning instead of launching the rescue operation immediately? From here on. First, it will be various theories and behind-the-scenes stories, so please watch carefully. As I mentioned earlier, in the announcement of the Passage Adjustment Committee, it was due to poor maintenance that the pressure barrier was damaged and so on. It is said to be a repair mistake of the Boeing vehicle, but from the fact that many eyewitness testimonies and confirmations have been made, it is suspected that the cause may have been elsewhere. Among them, these 2 are considered to be the most powerful. The Self-Defense Forces missile theory and the Tron theory, most of them are about these 2 that were left. It all started when I noticed a peculiar word in the voice memo. The Maritime Self-Defense Force uses the term Orange Air to refer to guided missiles and unmanned target aircraft, though it has not been officially confirmed to the public. At the time of the incident, the Self-Defense Forces were conducting a training exercise in the vicinity, and it is rumored that they were using a missile with orange markings. This is what happened. This suggests that there is a possibility that the accident occurred due to a collision with a missile. To cover this up, there were eyewitness testimonies from children who saw 2 aircraft flying as if to cover the sky just before the accident, and it is said that orange debris was found at the scene. It is said that the crash site could not be identified, which is why it took time for rescue. It would make sense if they prioritized the recovery of the orange debris to hide this fact. I can't tell you everything due to time constraints, but this accident is believed to have been caused by the Self-Defense Forces. I have it written as information. Immediately after the crash, the Self-Defense Forces and the United States military helicopters were already confirming the location regardless of that. The rescue operation began 14 hours later. Some Self-Defense Force members who tried to prioritize saving lives were immediately disciplined. Let's revisit this topic later during the blank space period, the time of the public's extinguishment. The incident site was swept by Self-Defense Force members who rushed into search, resulting in bodies being incinerated. How unnatural it is that the evidence was charred black. Could it be a cover-up? Survivors are found in places more than 328 yards away from the scene. In the span of just 1 year, over 90 members of the Self-Defense Forces have committed suicide. From the consciousness of the edge, it could be a gag order, or perhaps there was a misfire and an accident occurred. There is a theory that this is not a misfire, but that America is deeply involved. There is a theory that supports this, and it is deeply involved. First, let's talk about Tron. Simply put, Tron is a game developed by the Japanese that has changed over time. In the operation of a computer, it was essentially a part of the computer's operation. At that time, the Japanese government had almost decided to adopt this Tron. Tron was recognized more globally as a brilliant invention. Even Microsoft, the parent of the original, acknowledged this fact. Furthermore, there was talk of providing this Tron for free. Many Japanese manufacturers wanted to adopt this Tron, but as a result, Tron ended up lagging behind. At that time, they were working on the Tron project with 17 engineers. All members were on board that day and tragically lost their lives. The internet was still in its early stages at the time. In an era when the internet was not yet widespread, they feared that the free Tron would monitor the world as it was about to explode in popularity. The Tron project suffered a major setback due to this accident, despite United States intervention. Nevertheless, it persevered. One thing that cannot be overlooked is the situation between Japan and the United States at the time, particularly in regards to the Plaza Accord. This significant post-war agreement was finalized at New York's Plaza Hotel with the United States and other parties. The agreement is called the Plaza Accord after the name of the hotel, and while it has various contents, essentially it was to deal with America's trade deficit by appreciating the yen and depreciating the dollar. After this agreement, the yen appreciated rapidly from around 260 yen per dollar at the time to 150 yen in one fell swoop. The economy was severely disrupted, leading to the creation and subsequent collapse of a bubble economy, which dealt a devastating blow to Japan's manufacturing industry. As a result, there was a trend of transferring production from domestic to overseas. That starting point, it was the Plaza Accord. Why did I talk about this now? It's because the Plaza Accord was made. This happened about a month after the incident. Japan initially had no intention of accepting America's trade deficit, as it would be disadvantageous for them. There were no conditions. It was accepted a month after the incident happened, due to a misfire by the self-defense forces. I heard that the Hifumi Kofun incident was made a joke of, and that the Kofun situation was caused by America. It's a theory that Japan was forced to swallow what America said, or else they would be threatened with the Hifumi Kofun incident. These are just theories, but why? Why do people feel there is something hidden behind this accident with almost blind faith? I think it's because there is a blank time to talk about it. What could be hidden in that incomprehensible time? Right after the accident, a television flash report about the case aired, containing content so dubious it was hard to believe. The self-defense force member who tried to rescue others was shot despite the abandonment order. Shortly after, the flash report was labeled false, causing further chaos. The rescue team arrived 13 hours late due to confusion in identifying the location. Despite the flash report indicating false information, it still seems like the scene was identified. It's strange, isn't it? The actual rescue operation started 14 hours after the accident, or even 16 hours later, as it's been said. A United States military transport aircraft was the first to arrive after the accident. American soldiers on board, ready to begin rescue operations, testified that they received orders to rescue based on communication from the aircraft. 2 hours later, 2 self-defense force helicopters reportedly arrived near the scene. Testimonies have been presented as evidence to support the scene. The official announcement on the 13th, the day after the accident, stated that around 100 self-defense force members were already at the undiscovered crash site at 4 Anti-Meridium. The self-defense force prioritized recovery efforts over rescue operations. Voices of 40 to 50 survivors were heard, but an hour later, no voices of survivors could be heard at all. A doctor who examined the bodies concluded that the way the bodies were burned was not consistent with an airplane accident and that there must have been another form of fire. The answers derived from these facts I would like to leave to your thoughts, but for me it is still unresolved, and I feel it is an unresolved case. If the cause of the accident is pursued to the very end, it could lead to war. I was involved in the accident investigation. Tomomi Meyashi and Kenji Yamaguchi request that from this point forward you refer to it as an incident, not an accident. Every August 12th, a television station inevitably airs a special feature. Much of the fragmented information about this incident has spread with the advent of the internet. Even now, there are still pieces that have not been brought to light. The existence of the voice recorder is also recognized. It's difficult, but we must reveal the truth to everyone. As a perspective on this incident, we must not forget that there is such a side. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video. Goodbye.